Welcome to the Life Multiplied podcast, where we sit down with local community members to hear their stories and learn what they love about the Bloomington-Normal community. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Life Multiplied podcast, Robbie. If you would just like to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name's Robbie Osenga. I am a husband and father of 3 kiddos, born and raised here in Bloomington-Normal, and serve as the Vice President of Business Development and Culture for Catalyst Construction. Okay. And wear a lot of other hats.
Yes.
Is a commercial real estate broker with Access 360 here in town, and pretty active in our faith and in our kids' school community.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, I heard you speak at in my LMC class. So
Okay.
I was like, I have to have Robbie on the podcast. You did a great job.
Thank you.
When it comes to just talking about what you've been through, like as part of the community, and then just also being a community enthusiast is what I would consider you as.
I'll take it. That's
awesome. Let's just dive in. If you want to share your current job, and then just also the other jobs that you have been in a part of the community.
Yeah, so I currently serve as the Vice President of Business Development and Culture for Catalyst Construction, which basically just means I work with our community, dreaming about what's possible, helping steward their ideas and hopes for where they want to grow their organizations, and whenever it's possible, trying to help them figure out how a quality of place and space fits in with that, and helping them build that out. I also serve as a commercial real estate broker with Access 360, so really it's just hand in hand, thinking about the future of our community and how we can, and my tagline is building a brighter Blow-No, and so I know there's some people who don't like the Blow-No term, but it's just short and it works. But my career, has taken a bit of a roller coaster, so everything from landscape design and interior design with kitchen and bathroom remodeling, into there was a point in my early career, 22 years old, where I felt like something was sort of missing for me personally. I needed more meaning, and so I went and started working in the field of special education, and pivoted pretty hard into that world, and started working with some incredible humans at the Baby Fold organization here in town. And so I started out as a teacher therapist assistant working with special needs kiddos and their families, which then I ended up having about a 10-year career in that world as a teacher then eventually, and then also started a school when I was 25 years old, and built a building, hired a staff to a school for kiddos who needed school to look different, junior high and high school students in the rural parts of our county here in McLean County, and did that with Leroy schools. So it was called the Leroy Preparatory Academy.
Sure. And it's still open now?
Still going now. And just got to see some of those folks a few weeks ago. And so still honored to be a part of that community. And that whole experience opened up a lot of doors that led to me doing a lot of professional development for teachers, behavioral management strategies, how to build relationships with tough kids. And one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I'm asked to come and do speaking and consulting for churches and nonprofit organizations. And so I started a consulting practice somewhere, I don't know, when I was 27 years old or something, on accident, no intent, and have largely kept a foot in that world all along, and still do, walking alongside businesses and organizations, just helping them think through their culture, their leadership teams, and the best ways to kind of steward their hopes and the things that they want to accomplish. And so that then one of my consulting clients became a company called Cybernautic, a web design company here in town. And so
I have a billboard with them right now.
Okay, so. Awesome. Well,
I know who they are.
So that I helped lead that company as a vice president for about 8 years. Prior to coming on with Catalyst, and it was in that role when they were looking for a building that I kind of stumbled across a building in downtown Bloomington that I fell in love with. One thing led to another, and all of a sudden I get my real estate license, and I start working with Catalyst because they had some visions for what was possible in downtown, and so then I became consulting for them, And that world just began to grow as our local economy began to grow. And so, just last year kind of stepped into more focused into just that world full time.
Kind of put the other things aside a little bit. It sounds like you have a lot going on.
I don't have a lot of starts and stops. I just have overlaps.
Okay, sure.
A lot of times.
Sure. All right, well, let's move in. How do you believe community involvement contributes to the overall well-being of residents?
Oh, man. Well-being seems nearly impossible if you don't have relationships.
Sure, yeah.
And so, my goodness, being born and raised here, my life is what it is largely because of the people who were in the generations ahead of me who invested in me, gave me a chance to try and figure out my gifts, my talents, saw something in me that they affirmed and gave me opportunities. And so, I have just been so blessed by so many people making a spot and giving me a chance and spending time with me. And so I have benefited from other people's community involvement. And as I've gotten older, I've tried to sort of pay that forward, reciprocate that. And, what's fun is that's a two-way street. And I believe, I hope I've made an impact on other people's lives, but I am positive they've made an impact on mine. Yeah. Continue to be enriched, continue to care more. If I know someone and their story, I now can't not care about them, their people, their organization.
It's a good quality to have.
It is, and there's just that fabric is just where, for me personally, a lot of the richness in life has come from, and so I think it's crucial.
Sure. Yeah, awesome. So what advice do you have for individuals looking to make a meaningful impact in the community?
Yeah. One of my mentors, I was probably a junior, senior in high school, and I'm a Jesus guy, so I just put that out there. So a lot of my mentors are somewhat in line with just my faith. And so he looked at me and said, Robbie, if you're ever questioning where God is, just go do something on behalf of others, and he's right there. Yeah. And there's been times where I've been questioning, who am I? Where do I fit? God, where are you in this? And I've heeded that advice. And without a real clear next step with my life, I then lean into, there's someone who has a need, and I can meet that need, and I step into that and experience then what happens as a result. Yeah. And what's beautiful is that, like I already said, that two-way street is I see something happen positive for others, and then I feel something happen in here that I'm going more of that. And so community involvement is just simply that, seeing a need and meeting it, and the benefits that come from that are significant. Yeah. Because I've received it. And hopefully I've given it, like I said.
And one of the main things would just be putting yourself out there, whether you're interested in it or not. Just trying something. I loved the activity that you did in the class, where you asked everybody, what are the negative things you hear about Bloomington-Normal? What are the positives? And a lot of the negatives were just like, there's nothing to do. That was the main one. And it's just like, get out in the community, get involved. Again, whether it's something that you're passionate about or something that you're interested in trying, I'm sure that you will find something to get involved in, and hopefully that turns into something. And so, yeah.
Well, I always am looking for the things that break my heart as well as the things that make my heart beat out of its chest. Yeah. And maybe as a culture, we're not always great at stopping and really reflecting about what's really going on in our heads and in our hearts. And so that's an exercise I always encourage people to do, is to really stop and look over the course of your life and identify, what are the things that have broken my heart, and then lean into them. Yeah. What are the things that make my heart beat out of its chest? Lean into those too. And what's so fun, at least for me, I've just seen those two things often intersect. Sure. And there's a lot of purpose there. And so I don't even remember what the question was, but
hey, no, it's all good.
but that's always my encouragement, especially for people who are trying to get connected or maybe move to this community is, what are the things that make your heart beat out of its chest, and what are the things that break your heart? Just start showing up. Yeah. And be willing to get involved in those spots. If you're going to sit back and wait for someone to invite you, that's, I don't know. I can't. There's not a lot I can guarantee with that.
Right.
but to take a step in those directions,
the first step.
It's a big deal.
All right. Well, awesome. So let's move into the next question. Where can you share a memorable experience that highlights the positive impact of community engagement in our local community?
Yeah. Hundreds.
I bet. You've been all over the map, so I'm sure you have a million stories.
I'll just say one from last week.
Sure.
So I'm sitting on a committee with several other members of our community on how to meet the housing needs of our community, and it's largely a lot of folks who are trying to meet the affordable housing needs of the least of these in our community, as well as a handful of others in the business and real estate development community like myself in there. And what was so neat was to spend, we did an exercise that was probably 45 minutes where a bunch of people got together, identified all of the problems, picked one, put forward solutions, picked one, and then collaborated on how could we then make this actually happen. And you know what? A lot of people who came in there with different motivations and different hopes and dreams of how to maybe meet that need or to advocate for the needs that they see most found a lot of unity, a lot of humility, a lot of honesty. And what came out of that was a real actionable next step that could be taken that everyone felt pretty happy with, that felt would be a step forward. And it was those types of collaborative efforts where people don't give up their identities and the things that they care about, but bring them together sort of open-handedly and say, hey, what could this look like? And so I love being a part of things like that. Yeah.
And I would definitely say, the Bloomington-Normal, I'd say they do a pretty good job at being collaborative. So that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. All right. So I know there's probably a million things for this one too, but what do you love about the Bloomington-Normal community?
Yeah, so I love our rich history. Couple things that stand out. One, so my hometown is Normal. Yeah. Okay. And the whole town wouldn't have existed if some people wouldn't have stepped forward and said, we're going to create a school that is dedicated to investing in education and teachers. Okay. And so the Normal University was created, ISU, with that purpose. And so our history is rich in investing in the next generation. Yeah. And I love that about who we are when we're at our best. I also love our agricultural roots and our just hard work, Midwestern ethic of just looking out for your neighbor and working hard to build something that lasts is just stitched into our fabric and our DNA. And that plays through even to today. The insurance world, I think, is super fun. It's neat that you can read like Barack Obama's memoir, and he mentions State Farm Insurance and beer nuts. Yeah. When you read that, and it's like people know State Farm, they know Jake, they know this, and so what's neat is that also our community has rallied around this thought of. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, but that mitigating risk, making it possible for people to take bigger bets with their lives, and having this sort of institution that's set aside to help step in when things kind of don't go your way. Yeah. And so there's just this, we're helpful, we're hardworking, and we invest in the next generation that is just, I don't know, it's who we are. Right. And I love that about us and want to continue to be a part of that. And I'm grateful to raise my kids here in that, So I don't know. Those are the things I love most.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. And then you want to share with us some of the go-to places in town, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's, where you like to work out.
Yep.
Anything.
Well, we're sitting in one of them.
Yeah, we sure are.
And so I love what Abby and Adam have created here at the Yoga Lab.
Yeah.
What's neat is these are two young folks who had a dream about creating not just a place to do yoga or a place to drink coffee, but to create community.
Correct.
And what has been so fun for me in this building
Yeah.
is I have practiced yoga with my retired driver's ed teacher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The high school babysitter that babysat me when I was a kid, former students from when I was a teacher, and then just this multi-generational, really open-handed community of people who are here to try and get healthy and be mindful and all of that. And so this place has been super fun for me. I'm so proud of them and what they've created here. I love any place that feels like it's been there for a minute. Sure. And so I love our older neighborhoods. Yeah. Just taking a walk in Founders Grove, in Broadway, on School Street. I love going on Sunset and just I'm a design nerd.
Yeah,
and
fair enough. Yeah.
I love being inspired by physical spaces and environments. Sure. I love our downtown and our uptowns, and just really stopping and looking at the intricacy and the detail that craftsmen took to create these places that were meant to be walked, and generations have walked here in these places. I love those types of things. People are going to frequently see me at coffee shops because I have a lot of meetings with people over coffee. So the Hound and the Coffee House in Uptown, and so those types of places. And I do love a good meal. And so we've got a plethora of those experiences here in town, but it's in the same way that I'm proud that people know State Farm. I think it's really neat that Distill and Biaggi's and Ancho and Agave are concepts that started here. Yeah. That really embody who we are, have a really intentional design aesthetic and menu and customer service that I think embody who we are really well, and that they've now taken those things and replicated them elsewhere is pretty fun. Yeah, awesome. So where can our listeners find you? I mean, I'm sure that you have social media, or if you want to be reached out on LinkedIn, or how does that work with you? I've actually taken a step back from social media over the last couple of years. So I'm pretty passive. I'm more reactive. People can still get a hold of me those ways. I'm just not as active in posting things there. But through LinkedIn, definitely a way to do that, or to just follow Catalyst Construction on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, as we're trying to continue to put more positive content and interactions and things that we're doing in the world out there. Yeah. And are you guys hiring any positions at the moment? We are. Okay. Yes. Would you like to share about those? So we're always looking for great carpenters and people in the trades who want to work with their hands and be a part of our team, and great culture, as well as we've got some accounting and billing positions open, and I believe likely sometime this spring, summer, we'll be bringing someone on full time for marketing and content, and so would love to interact with people who might be interested in that. Okay, well, awesome. I appreciate you coming on the Life Multiplied podcast today. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to tune in to next week's episode, where we talk with local community members to learn more about Life Multiplied here in Bloomington-Normal.